We begin right where the panic shouts the loudest. Death, so-called, terrifies you only to the degree that you have accepted the body, the name, the scrapbook of memories, as the I. Must we deny the body? Certainly not. Must we despise a good name or a wholesome story? No. But listen. What is it you are actually afraid of losing? Is it life, or the forms you have called life? Are you afraid of the absence of breath, or of the absence of your address book and your photographs? Are you dreading the end of awareness, or the end of being recognized at the dinner table? Now you see the point. Life is not the condition of the body. Life is not the pulse. It is that which knows the pulse. Do you see what I'm getting at? Let us be plain. This is not philosophy. This is not a belief to be adopted today and traded in tomorrow. This is an experience to be recognized, quietly, inwardly, now. Before a word leaves your lips, before a thought is formed, there is an aware presence here, in this room, in this very moment, that is knowing this voice, this chair, this breath. That presence is not born when the body is born, and it does not die when the body dies. It is the witness of all that comes and goes. Be still and know. Stand ye still. The battle is not yours, but God. And that is not poetry. It is instruction. You say, but if the body fails, won't everything fail? It makes no difference. Not as indifference, not as cold stoicism, but as the quiet certainty that identity is anchored in the one who does not fail. The seasons make no difference to the sun. The tides make no difference to the ocean. So the alterations of the body make no difference to life that is I. The name may be praised or forgotten. The story may be told or misremembered. It makes no difference to the presence that is being you. Now, do you catch that? Not the you of yesterday's photograph, but the you to whom the photograph appeared. We will move together, as a class and as a practice, from the objects, body, time, history, to the cause, to presence, to the holy I am that Jesus pointed to, not as a title, but as inner dominion. And as we do, fear will not be wrestled to the ground. It will be seen for what it always was, a shadow cast by misidentification. We are not going to bargain with death or pray to prolong a story. We are going to recognize life as already present and already being itself. And in that recognition, the panic dissolves of its own nothingness. So, let this be our opening. Sit quietly now, even as I speak, and notice that which is noticing. Without words, without strain. There it is, the aware presence, the I that is not a thing. Hold to that, return to that, and the terror of losing the name, the body, the story, yes, will fade, because you cannot lose what you are. Now let us put foundation under this, because unless you see the difference between form and cause, you will drift back, as a habit, to worshiping the thing and fearing its disappearance. Everything visible, everything measurable, is form. Money is a form. A reputation is a form. Health, as you think of it in the body, is a form. And so the body itself, height, weight, age, pulse, is a form. But life is not a form. Life is the cause, the animating presence that is aware of the forms and is not bound to their measurements. Do you see what I'm getting at? If I placed in every hand in this room a perfect body, oh, shining, effortless vitality, and I signed a contract with you, 10 years guaranteed, would you be grateful? Certainly, you would rejoice. But now be honest. Would you be grateful for a 10-year lease on a house of clay, or for the living principle by which life is life? I tell you, to be grateful for the 10 years is understandable, but it is spiritual childhood. To be grateful for the principle is sanity. Why? Because the 10 years will pass, the contract will expire, but principle does not expire. It makes no difference what happens to the lease if you are established in the source that produces and renews and animates. So it is with money. You may have a stack of bills today and none tomorrow. Must we stop being grateful when the stack is gone? Certainly not. We shift our gratitude to the ability, to the cause that generated them. It isn't the pile that is a power. It is the presence that manifests as supply. So it is with the body. It isn't the waistline or the blood count that is life. It is the I that knows the waistline, that sees the count, that remains when the reading changes. Now you see, fear enters only when we enthrone the form and call it cause. That is idolatry, flesh treated as God. And with it comes terror. What if my God breaks? What if my God ages? Then, of course, you live in dread. The correction is not harsh. It is simple, and it is liberating. Withdraw your worship from the form. Direct your gratitude to the cause. Be still and know the I that is not subject to dates and measurements. Notice this, even now. The awareness with which you hear this sentence. Does it have a birthday? Is it 10 years old or 60? Is it taller when the body stands and shorter when it sits? Nonsense. The awareness is constant. The forms play before it. And when that settles in you, a wonderful freedom appears. The body may strengthen or weaken. It makes no difference to the integrity of I. The story may be praised or forgotten. It makes no difference to the presence that is living you. Stand ye still. The battle is not yours, but God. Once you cease trying to nail the forms in place as if your identity depended on them, you begin to feel a quiet continuity, an unbroken being. From there, we will not fight death nor bargain with time. We will rest in cause and let the shadows pass of themselves. Now, if you have caught even a glimmer of that difference between form and cause, let us turn to the habit that keeps fear alive, the battle. Most people spend the day demonstrating against aging, against illness, against endings, fighting anniversaries, fighting numbers, fighting mirrors and test results, as if by resistance they could maintain life. And, do you see what I'm getting at? By resisting, you confer power. You enthrone a shadow, and then you tremble before your own idol. I must keep it back. I must hold the line. I must win. Win what? Win the privilege of being a better-looking form for another season? Is that life? No. Life is the I that knows the season. And I tell you, the battle you wage against time is the hypnosis of time itself. So listen to the word that has outlived empires. Stand ye still. The battle is not yours, but God's. Apply it exactly here, not poetically, exactly to the fear of death. Stand ye still in the presence that is aware. The moment you take up arms against death, you have accepted death as a power, and, be assured of this, it is stronger than your fists. But when you are still, when you refuse the inner war, you discover a paradox. That which you feared has no access to the one who is aware. It cannot touch I. It cannot enter the sanctuary of awareness because it is only noise in awareness. It makes no difference what the calendar says when you are established in cause. It makes no difference what the headline shouts when you are resting in the one that is life itself. Notice the mechanics of the hypnosis. The more you track symptoms as identity, my pressure, my count, my scan, the more you rehearse birthdays and anniversaries as verdicts, the more you live by risk charts and timelines as if they were scripture, the nearer death seems. Every number you paste on your chest becomes a badge of bondage. You wake to check a device. You worship at the altar of a date. You recite probabilities, and the room fills with phantoms you have invited. But sit back 1 inch, just 1 inch, into the simple awareness that is noticing all this counting, and watch what happens. Fear, left without an opponent, begins to consume itself. Like a fire without fuel, it dwindles. Evil has a way of destroying itself unless you take up arms against it. So it is with this specter called death. Now, must we ignore our responsibilities? Certainly not. Pay your bills. Keep an appointment. Feed the cat. Take the body to the mechanic when the light goes on. Do you see? But do it without making a war of identity. We won't even go out to fight the shadow. We will stand still. We will say within ourselves, the battle is not mine, but God's, and act from quiet, not panic. We are refusing the inner combat that turns mortality into a sentence. We are letting the presence, which is already life, already harmony, be what it is. And as this becomes your habit, a new report issues from within you. It makes no difference what rises and falls in time, for I am not at war. I am witness. I am. Now let us speak plainly about prayer, because unless this is corrected, you will go right back into bargaining with shadows. Any prayers you have ever offered to persuade God to spare the body, to stretch the story, to negotiate a few more pages in the scrapbook, throw them out as sheer stupidity. Do you see what I'm getting at? That whole approach imagines God as a reactive agent sitting somewhere, weighing petitions, deciding who gets a reprieve. Nonsense. God is not a moody monarch. God is a creative, maintaining, sustaining principle. You cannot coax a principle. You cannot flatter light into shining or bribe law into functioning. Light shines by being light. Principle maintains by being what it is. We don't sit up nights praying that the sun will rise. When the tide is out, we don't get on our knees and plead with the ocean to return. The cycle is the cycle. So it is with life. You do not pray life into being. Life is being itself, whether or not you are anxious about it. If you insist on petitioning, you merely confess that you believe life is absent and must be summoned. And the very confession tightens fear around your throat. Stand ye still. The battle is not yours, but God's. Prayer is not the battle cry of a desperate soldier. It is the quiet recognition that there is no battle in God. Then what is prayer? Prayer is recognition. Not save me from dying, but let me recognize the life that is this very I. Not give me more time, but be still and know I am. You don't beg water to be wet. You recognize wetness and you use it. You don't request gravity to hold your feet. You recognize it and walk. So prayer, rightly understood, recognizes the presence that is already your being and rests in it. It makes no difference what the calendar threatens, because the principle we are recognizing is timeless. It makes no difference what the medical phrase is today, because we are not trying to get a size or shape to behave. We are acknowledging the I that is life. Now, notice what happens even in your nerves when you shift from petition to recognition. The panic, which is fueled by a future to be secured, begins to drain, because there is no future in recognition, only presence. The heart quiets, the breath unwinds, the mind ceases its bargains, because there is nothing to negotiate when life is already here. This is not autosuggestion. It is the cessation of inner war. When you stop pleading, your attention returns from an imagined later to an actual now, and identity relocates from a threatened form to the witnessing I. Do you see? The body is no longer a defendant on trial. It is a phenomenon appearing within awareness, and awareness is not on trial. How then shall you pray? Sit you down quietly. Ask nothing. Announce nothing. Wait. Father within, reveal thyself as the life I am. And then be still until the felt sense of presence, however slight, announces itself. Not a voice, not a picture, not a bargain, just the unmistakable I that is here before thought. We don't pray to extend a lease on clay. We recognize the landlord of being. We don't tell life to act. We let life be life in us, as us. And this becomes the bridge to our next work. For once prayer is recognition, you are free to turn and investigate the word I directly. Not as a sentence on a page, not as a thought you repeat, but as immediate experience. We will not think about I. We will find the one who now hears these words. And from that discovery, it makes no difference what time does, because I is not in time. Stand ye still. Be still and know. I am. Now, just for a moment, let us not talk about it. Let us look. Sit you down quietly as you are, and without changing a thing, notice the simple fact that there are sensations. Pressure where the body meets the chair, temperature on the skin, the rise and fall called breath. Must you concentrate? Certainly not. Must you visualize a light or repeat a phrase? No. Just notice. And now, more important, notice that all of that is being known. The body as sensation, as posture, as breath, is appearing to awareness. Do you see what I'm getting at? The body is an object of awareness. Where is this I that knows? Is it in the chest? In the head? Behind the eyes? Or is it the knowing itself? Don't answer with words. Feel it. Be still and let the question sink without a ripple. Stand ye still. The battle is not yours, but God's. There is an unformed, wordless presence that is here before the thought chest, before the picture head. Stay with that. If the mind rushes to give you a location, smile at it and return to the feel of being. Just this unmistakable sense, I am. Now watch, without trying to improve anything, as sensations shift. An itch comes and goes. The breath lengthens, shortens. Perhaps the heart taps a little louder, a little softer. Maybe an emotion rises like weather and passes. Thoughts parade. Yesterday's fragment, tomorrow's list. An opinion about this practice. Do you see? All of it changes. But the fact that it is known does not change. The aware I is unchanged. Hold there a moment. Without forming a sentence, let it be clear. I am before, during, and after every sensation, every mood, every thought. I do not come and go with them. I am that which knows their coming and their going. Try this now. Allow a memory to float up. See how it arises in the same open awareness that holds the feel of the hands, the sound in the room. Invite a plan for later. It, too, appears in the same space. Where, then, is the boundary of I? If you look for edges, do you not find only more appearances in this one field of knowing? Do not describe it. Feel it. The sense of being, self-evident, unhurried, not in time. From here, let the stabilizing truth take root. If I is this witnessing presence, then the body is something I experience, not what I am. If the body is tired or fresh, it makes no difference to the fact of I. If the numbers rise or fall, if the mirror flatters or frowns, it makes no difference to the essence that is aware. This is not indifference to the body. It is freedom from mistaking it for self. The weather may shift, the sky remains the sky. Stand ye still and know that I am. So the method, if we must use a word, is no method. Not concentration, not affirmation, not a battle with thought. It is resting as the felt fact of being before you name anything. When the mind wanders, do not chase it. Simply notice that wandering is known, and in that noticing, you are home. Each time you return, the truth deepens. I am not the changing. I am the changeless witness of the changing. And from that recognition, fear loses its hook, because it can only tug at what you are not. It makes no difference what ripples cross the surface when you are established as the depth. Be still. Know. I am. Now, having touched this silent awareness without a syllable, let us bring it into its lineage, not to decorate it with religion, but to identify it as the very word that startled Moses into ministry. Out there in the desert, at the bush that burned and was not consumed, the instruction was not a promise of tomorrows and victories. It was a name. I am that I am. Do you see what I'm getting at? That was not an external monarch pronouncing a title. That was the revelation of presence as identity, the password capitalized always. I. Not a label for a deity imagined elsewhere, but the inner fact that is knowing you now. Treat that with awe. Stand ye still. Be still and know. So it is when Jesus speaks, I am the bread. I am the light. I am the water. I am the resurrection and the life. Before Abraham was, I am. Is that personal braggadocio? Nonsense. That is not a biography puffing itself up. That is presence speaking in the first person through a man available enough to let it through. There had to be a Moses. There had to be a Jesus. There has to be a you. God fills all space, but it becomes practical only as it finds expression through an individual consciousness that will be still enough to let the I announce itself and act. Now you see why every class I must bring this out. The word is not a slogan. It is dominion. Make the distinction clear, and you will walk free. The little I, the name on your mail, the dates on a certificate, the scrapbook you show your friends, that is a temporary sense of self. Useful for schedules, yes. Deadly as identity. The capital I is not a person at all. It is an activity, a presence of God individualized as you. It is not proud because it has nothing to defend. It does not beg because it is what it seeks. It is not afraid because it is not trying to survive as a form in time. It is life recognizing itself. When the body is rested or weary, it makes no difference to I. When the story is praised or forgotten, it makes no difference to I. Stand ye still. The battle is not yours, but God's. Now treat this as sacred, secret. Do not run about repeating I am as if you had discovered a charm to paste over trouble. Any attempt to make a mantra into a lever to move God is sheer stupidity. This is not a technique. It is a birth. Keep the babe hidden. Hide the pearl in the field of your own heart. For at least a season, yes, I would say 2 years, tell no man. Let it ripen until the word I within you no longer points to a face in the mirror, but to the presence that is prior to mirrors and faces. Keep it bottled up in the inner sanctuary until it grows strong enough to carry itself into your living without your help. And then watch what happens to the specter of death. You will not manage fear. You will not fight it. You will look for it and find no place for it to land. Why? Because the premise has collapsed. Death can threaten a form. It cannot lay a finger on I. When I am is more real to you than the pulse under your thumb, then beginnings and endings pass like shadows on a wall. It makes no difference what starts or stops, for I is not in time. Be still and know I am. In that knowing, the last terror folds its tent, and you stand in the quiet dominion that was pointed to from the bush to the Galilean shore. One life, one presence, I. Let us say it so simply that even the nerves can understand it. Death is the end of a form. Fear is the belief that the form is what I am. Therefore, when I am known as presence and not as form, the fear loses its object and dissolves. Do you see what I'm getting at? It isn't mystical at all. It is the most practical arithmetic you will ever learn. Misidentification equals fear. Right identification equals peace. Take the contrast you already know in a dozen small ways. If you lose money, you have not lost supply, because supply is the ability, the cause, that produces money. If the purse is empty, but the ability remains, new forms appear. So it is. If you lose a job, you have not lost usefulness. Usefulness is the activity of intelligence expressing as you, and it will take on new shapes. Extend the logic to the place you have been afraid to look. If a body is lost, life is not lost, because life is not the body. Life is the aware presence that knew the body while it was here, and knows the absence when it is not. It makes no difference to life which form appears. Life is being itself. Now you will ask me, are you saying the body doesn't matter? Certainly not. We care for it. We do not worship it. We bathe it, feed it, mend it when it tears. We do not bow down to it as God. We keep the house in order because we are decent householders. But we do not confuse the tenant with the lumber. We wash the window. We do not mistake the glass for the light. Do you see? This is not contempt for form. It is sanity about cause. When I say, it makes no difference, do not hear fatalism. Do not hear coldness. Hear the mature calm that comes of knowing where life is anchored. Storm on the surface makes no difference to the depth of the sea. Clouds make no difference to the sun. Praise or blame makes no difference to the principle that remains what it is. So the aging of a body, the reading on a chart, the gossip of a calendar, none of this makes any difference to the fact of the I that is aware. Stand ye still. The battle is not yours, but God's. And here is how you will know this has become real and not merely agreeable. The tests will come. A diagnosis is spoken. A number ticks over on a birthday. The night phone rings and grief sits down in your chair, or uncertainty fogs the path. In that very instant, watch the old reflex rise to fight, to bargain, to rehearse tomorrows. Then, as one trained in this room, sit back 1 inch into recognition. Be still and know, I am. Not as a sentence, feel it. Let the nervous system report its panic, and let presence report itself. Care for the body appropriately. Make the call you must make. Sign what you must sign. But refuse inner idolatry. Refuse to make a god of a form. In that refusal, fear discovers it has nothing to grip, because it can only threaten what was never you. And you will hear, beneath the noise, the unhurried announcement, I am the life that cannot be added to or subtracted from. It makes no difference what time does. I am. So now, when the body shouts danger, let that very shout become your bell to prayer, not petition, but recognition. Every surge of fear is not punishment, it is diagnosis. It is the dashboard light that says, you have slipped into form identification. Return to grace. Must we scold ourselves for it? Certainly not. We take the cue. Do you see what I'm getting at? Trials do not prove the absence of God. They prove the need to be still. Stand ye still. The battle is not yours, but God's. Here is how you will meet it, exactly, when the pressure comes. First, pause. Stop moving inside. Let the breath be felt as it is, in and out, without trying to fix it. Second, withdraw your consent from the mental warfare, the bargaining, the rehearsing, the arguing with what-ifs. Drop the weapons. Third, inwardly announce, without strain, be still and know, I am. Do not repeat it to hypnotize yourself. Mean it as recognition. Fourth, wait. 20 seconds, 2 minutes, 5 minutes, until a felt quiet, however slight, begins to spread in the chest, in the belly, or nowhere in particular. That quiet is not produced by you. It is the presence revealing itself as the only I. Fifth, from that quiet, take the outer step required. Make the call, drive to the appointment, lie down and sleep, but refuse to pick up the inner battle again. The form of the step makes no difference. The inner stance is everything. What do I mean by let it destroy itself? Panic runs on your attention, on your belief that it names reality. Feed it argument, and it grows. Feed it rehearsal, and it grows. Deny it oxygen, deny it your combat, and it begins to consume its own fuel. The wave that terrified you collapses back into the sea when there is no wind of resistance. Evil has a way of destroying itself unless you take up arms against it. So it is. Withdraw the fight, and the cycle cannot sustain itself in the light of I. Try the protocol in the small theaters where you live. You are sitting in the clinic, your name is called, and a paper with numbers is handed to you. Feel the old reflex reach for the sword. Right there. Pause. Feel the breath. Stand ye still. Be still, and know I am. Let the numbers be numbers while you rest as awareness. Walk in, speak plainly with the physician, and notice that fear, depriven of warfare, flickers and fades. It makes no difference what digits are on paper to the fact of I that is aware. At 2 in the morning, a gust of thought rattles the windows. What if? What if? Do not wrestle it. Sit back 1 inch. Feel the covers, the mattress, the simple aliveness of being. Whisper if you must. I am. Let the storm pass without chasing it. Sleep returns when the sentry is relieved of imaginary battle. You answer the phone and hear of a loved one's passing. The body tightens, the room tilts. Take the cue. Breathe. Refuse the theater of never again and if only. Stand ye still. Recognize that the life you loved was never the form. It was presence appearing as that face, those hands. In the quiet, gratitude will rise without tears of desperation, and grief will soften into reverence. And keep this practice sacred, secret. Do not run out to report your little victories. Let repetition in silence mature it until non-resistance becomes your natural stance. Day by day, trial by trial, the bell will ring and you will return, and return again to the hidden sanctuary. There the unreal threat cannot live, and there you learn, by living it, that I am the peace that makes no difference. And now, because some of you are already feeling the sweetness of this presence, and the mind is tempted to run out and make an announcement about it, let me say what I must say in every class. Keep the pearl hidden. Treat this as something sacred, secret. The realization that I is presence and not person is not a trinket to flash or a slogan to trade. It is a seed, and seeds do not shout. They are carried. They are warmed. They are guarded from wind and fingers and premature exposure. Do you see what I'm getting at? For at least 2 years, yes, I will put a time on it. Tell no man. Let it gestate. Let it root. Let it become bone of your bone before you ever let the words cross your lips in public. Why the secrecy? Because showmanship splits consciousness. One part of you is rehearsing phrases, I am, I am, I am. And the other is running to the mirror to check if the face is still young, to the chart to check if the number has improved. That divided house trembles at a knock. To parade metaphysics while privately panicking is sheer stupidity. It weakens the very practice that would save you from panic. Better to be silent and honest than loud and false. Better to hold the babe in the arms of the heart than to toss it to the marketplace to be admired. Stand ye still. The battle is not yours, but God's. What does secret look like? It looks like this. Each morning, before the newspapers and the phone, sit down and be still. Ask nothing. Argue nothing. Return to the simple, wordless sense of being. Aware, open, here. If a phrase wants to be used, let it be only recognition. Be still and know I am. And then stop. Midday. A minute in the car. A breath before a meeting. A pause at the sink. Return again. In the evening, when the world's costume has grown heavy, rest again as the unclothed I that witnessed the day and was not in it. Less debate about beliefs. More living in recognition. Fewer explanations. More silence. And if someone asks you, "What are you doing?" smile and say, "Resting," and leave it there. Keep the word bottled up in the inner sanctuary until it ripens from sentence into state. Now you see the practical fruit of secrecy. As the inner I grows primary, external conditions lose their authority. A fever reads as weather. You care for the body without surrendering identity. A loss visits. You grieve without falling out of yourself. Uncertainty passes through. You remain. The old alarms still ring, but they no longer command. You feel a steadiness that is not bravado and not numbness, a quiet poise that says, it makes no difference. Not because nothing matters, but because I is not at the mercy of what matters in time. This is what 2 years of faithful hiding does. It builds a habit of resting as presence that no headline can unseat. Then, and not before, when the word I no longer refers to a biography, but to the living awareness itself, you may speak. Not to convince, not to perform, but because truth has grown teeth and walks on its own. And when at last you speak the great litany, you will not recite poetry. You will state fact. I am the light. I am the bread. I am the life. Before every number, before every name, I am. And it will make no difference what rises or falls, because the one who speaks is the one that is. Stand ye still. Be still and know. Keep the pearl. Let it grow. And now we are ready for the sending forth. Not with a slogan, but with the recognition that does not argue. We are not going to persuade the mind. We are going to acknowledge what is already true. Do you see what I'm getting at? This is not an attempt to make something happen. This is the beholding of that which is. Stand ye still. The battle is not yours, but God's. From the quiet we have cultivated, let the word speak itself as itself, not as poetry, but as identity. I am the life that lives itself as all living. I am the bread that satisfies without price. I am the water that needs no cup and cannot spill. I am the light that no shadow overcomes. I am the way where there is no obstruction. I am the truth that does not argue. I am the resurrection and the life, this instant, not later. I am the peace that passeth understanding, passing all the understanding of fear and time. I am the health that is wholeness before a body reports it. I am the supply that is ability before a purse measures it. I am the love that loves because it is love. I am. And because I am, it makes no difference whether youth or age is written on a page. I is unchanged. It makes no difference whether the form is praised or forgotten. I is unchanged. It makes no difference whether a number rises or falls. I is unchanged. Be still and know. I am. Take this with you as practice, simple and exact. When fear rises this week, when a word, a sound, a number, a mirror attempts to seize you, do not wrestle. Sit you down quietly. Ask for nothing. Announce nothing. Feel the bare fact of being before a single thought names it. Just this. I am. Let the breath come and go without management. Let the mind do what it will and pay it no wages. Wait until a slight, unmistakable okayness begins to glow without reason. That is the presence being itself. From that quiet, take the outer step you must and keep your hands off the inner battle. Stand ye still. The battle is not yours, but God's. And you will find, again and again, it makes no difference what the circumstance pretends, because I is not in the circumstance. The day will come, mark it, when more of this world will stop fighting error, stop demonstrating against shadows, and live from presence. The tides of fear will exhaust themselves against a shore that does not move, and there will be a spiritual renaissance of quiet men and quiet women whose very stillness heals. Be early in that day. Keep the pearl hidden, live the word until it walks of its own accord, and let your peace, not your argument, be your testimony. I send you home with a word, locked within you, not to decorate you, but to be you. I am the life. I am the bread. I am the water. I am the resurrection. I am the peace. And because I am, it makes no difference. Stand ye still. Be still and know I am.